Hi, and welcome to Life, Liberty, and Pursuit of Cookies. Today we're going to be making government cookies, aka gluten-free chocolate chip cookies. First thing you're going to add is 2 3/4 cups of almond flour, also known as our federalism. I used almond flour to represent federalism because a lot of countries have systems similar to federalism, but nothing's exactly the same, and a lot of recipes have flour, but not a lot have almond flour, so it's not exactly the same. The next thing you're going to add is 3/4 of a teaspoon of kosher salt. Just like how every recipe needs salt, every democracy needs a good social contract. A social contract is an idea that Locke came up with where we give up some of our freedoms to abide by laws and so that the government will protect our rights. The next thing you're going to add is 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. This represents our judicial review. It's important for our laws to be reviewed by the judicial branch to ensure that they are just. Now for the wet ingredients. The first wet ingredient we are going to add is 10 tablespoons of unsalted butter. This butter represents diversity because our democracy needs to be diverse so that the government can represent the people that are in it. The next thing we're going to add is brown sugar and regular sugar. The sugars represent majority rule and minority rights. These are important so then the majority voters can still get what they want, but then the minority or like the losing side doesn't have to sacrifice that much and they can still get something out of living in our government and our democracy in our country. After those ingredients are combined, you are going to add in your egg. The egg symbolizes individualism because if you can't be yourself, then the government can't represent you, and then the democracy doesn't work. The next ingredient you are going to add is 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla. The vanilla represents checks and balances. Checks and balances are important to our government because it helps the government stay cohesive and it helps keep everybody accountable for their choices. Now we're going to mix together our dry ingredients and our wet ingredients. The next ingredient you're going to add is 2 cups of chocolate chunks. The chocolate chunks represent policies. Policies are important for our government so we can all live peacefully while abiding by rules so that we can all get along. Now we are going to roll the finished dough into balls and put it onto this piece of parchment. The next thing you're going to do is just carefully press down a little bit with a fork to flatten the cookies out a little bit more. And we are going to add our final ingredient. Our final ingredient is sea salt. Sea salt represents limited government. Limited government is important to our democracy because it just reminds us that we still have a democracy and it's government for the people and people should have the majority of control. Now you're going to put these cookies in the oven at 350 degrees for 18 to 22 minutes. All done. These look delicious.
That's some good democracy.
And that's how we don't let our democracy crumble.